Thanks for tuning in to Bitches Be Cray. Just a quick reminder, everything we share on this show reflects our personal experiences and what's worked for us. We're not healthcare professionals, so if you or someone you know is dealing with a medical or mental health concern, please reach out to a qualified professional for support. What's up, bitches? Welcome to Bitches Be Cray. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nancy, and today we're going to be talking about our first love.
Yeah, we've talked about them like maybe in every single episode we've done. Like so many things tie back because when we like think through things we've had to heal from, like we can see that it was manifested in those relationships. So we're like, you know what? Maybe the people would just like the backstory all these episodes in now so that you can just kind of see.
And it also kind of like really, I think, shows in the beginnings of our traumas. Because there's that, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, because when it's your first like real romantic relationship, I feel like you can see, I mean, not in the moment probably.
No, in the moment we're just
but
crazy bitches.
When you look back, you can see, So it definitely relates to like learning a lot about yourself for sure.
I mean, for real. Like it was crazy.
But...
Or we're going to give them names.
That's right, it was. I knew there was something I was forgetting. So we decided instead of saying our first love and our first boyfriend and this over and over and over, we're just going to come up with some fake names. So my first love, we're going to call him Andrew. I've never dated an Andrew. I'm not even sure if I know an Andrew, so that should be a safe fake name.
Mine's going to be Luca.
That's cute. I wonder if I think he looks like a Luca. I'd have to look at... I feel like mine looks like an Andrew.
Oh, he does. I agree.
So... yeah. And okay, I guess we'll get into it. And I'll go first just because I'm slightly older and I met mine a little, like, I don't know, what did we just say? Like a year or two before you did? I mean, because I'm like 2 years older than you. That makes sense.
When you were 16, I was what?
Well, I met mine in 2002, right before I turned 15. Like a month before I turned 15.
Are you 2 years older than me?
Yeah.
I met him.
So, but
mine was 12.
So yours was in 2000, what? Mine was 2002.
I was 12 years old.
Yeah, but what year was it? I'm just talking about year, not age. Oh, okay.
Well, in 2012, it would have been 2003.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I can't believe you met yours that young. Like, that's crazy. I guess probably, I might have been 13 the first time I met him. I don't think so. I think I was 14. Because the thing was, my mom, before she retired, was a mail carrier. And she actually carried like the route that was by our house. And when I was in high school, she ended up buying this property and we built a house on it. And it was like the next street over from where I grew up.
Okay.
So she knew some people in that neighborhood from delivering the mail. And it just so happened that across the street, there was a teenage boy. And so eventually when the house started being built, like I used to never really go over because my mom and my brother, like after my mom came home from work, they would go over there like every day. I don't even know what they were doing over there because like we had the foundation put in and obviously like some contractors did like the main building, but my mom worked on the house a lot as well and was finishing stuff up. So I don't know what my younger brother was doing over there all day. Maybe he was hanging out with Andrew, right? Who was going to be my future boyfriend. But all I remember is my mom had told me, because I had been dating somebody from church, and I mentioned him before, but he's just not like, he was not the best guy. He was not the best fit for me. We'll say that. He wasn't the best influence for me. And so my mom was like, she knew this boy across the street was like a nice kid. Like he came across the street to help her like carry these like big bags of probably like gardening soil or something. And I mean, she probably already knew him from delivering the mail. And my brother and him, even though they're quite a few years apart, they both, well, actually, I guess only like 3.5, but I don't know if it was kind of apart at that age. But anyway, they were both into like fishing and being outside. And so, I think he just kind of came over and hung out with him because he was just like at home with his dad. I guess he was probably lonely. And there wasn't like a lot of...
And he didn't have a mom, right? So
yeah,
not that your mom would have been much of a mom figure.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, his mom was like off like in her next marriage. She was probably pregnant at the time because his sister is quite a bit younger, or she was like just really young. So he just spent most of his time with his dad's, and I guess he, probably wasn't a lot to do. So my mom told me one day, like, oh, there's this cute boy your age that comes over. Like, I think y'all would be cute or something. And I'm like, I don't think.
Oh, wow, your mom said that?
Yeah, I don't know if she said maybe she said there's a cute boy for you. I don't remember how she said it, but something like that. She was definitely trying to like set me up because she thought he was a nice kid, and he was. But when you're that age, you don't want to take I feel like I didn't want to take my mom's advice on dating. Like, no, mom, have a bad boy at church. What do you mean? But I did meet him at some point. And I was just like, Mom, what are you thinking? Absolutely not.
What?
I don't know.
What the fuck? He's so cute.
Well, at the time, he just wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like he wasn't, the first time I saw him, he wasn't quite, he was a teenager already, but he still had like a little, I don't know. He didn't look mature enough to me. Like, he just didn't look
manly enough.
Maybe not even that. He had like a little like baby fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, just not the like.
Oh yeah.
Not like
when chiseled out.
Yes,
that's
actually kind of exactly how I saw him. And I'm just like, I thought he was like all right. I'm like, I don't think he's my type. And because my last boyfriend was like 6'4" and like
damn,
thin,
bitch.
and like this was just a different look.
6'4"?
Yeah, he was a tall dude.
Damn.
And at that point, I was still like going to church though, and we had like an event called a lockout, which is where why would people want to do this beyond me? But some chaperones and like some people from the church, we went out to these different activities. So we actually went to lockout means like you stay out like all night basically. So we went to like see Monsters Inc. Like all of the like high school, middle school kids went to see Monsters Inc. I remember we went like coffee bowling.
Did they want you guys to get pregnant and have sex?
Right? I don't know.
Is that what the fuck they wanted?
I don't know what
the angle.
No, I don't know, right? But who keeps teenagers out?
Yeah.
There were like 2 busfuls. Like, I'm not talking about 5 kids. I'm like, y'all keeping up with the people. So I had invited him, and he brought his cousin, and he went. And I just remember
You invited Andrew?
Yeah.
But why if he wasn't relevant?
Well, because this was like shortly after, and I was like, I don't know, Mom. She's like, well, I think really what it was I was still into the guy that I broke up with. And I'm like,
you want to show him up.
And this was the point that by the time I saw him this time, I'm like, okay, like he was starting to, he was starting to like get a little older looking, not with the baby fat and the baby face, and just kind of like, growing into that more like teenage boy. And I remember I took him with me, and I could tell the day that we were all, because I didn't hang out with him the whole time, but I did most of the time. And I could tell he liked me. I could just tell, I could feel it. And it was nice to feel like, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. But I remember like at one point, like I don't know why I had my shoes off on the bus. I remember having my shoes off on the bus, and like I had my feet in his lap. And,
already?
Yeah. No, we weren't even dating or anything. I was just like.
That day?
I think we were like crunching for space, because I'm telling you, we were like sardines on this. So we were like squeezed in. I remember that. I could just tell he liked me, but I was like, I don't know. And I don't know how long it was before I saw him again, but probably a couple months. Because the next time I saw him was summer. It was 4th of July, 2002. And we were at our new house. We didn't live there yet, but we were just, I don't know why we were there. Maybe we were playing like in the sprinkler or something because we had more space over there.
So
like,
what month you met him?
July.
No, before.
2024.
The bus shit.
Probably in the spring or the fall of the previous year. So some months had passed. Maybe six months, maybe 3 months. Like enough months. It wasn't like by this point, because he was in 8th grade, and I was already, you know what I'm saying? Like I was already about to be I was in 9th grade. Yeah, no, that's right. He was in 8th grade and I was in 9th grade. I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna take somebody from middle school. But I'm like young for my age, so we were like really close in age because I was a summer baby. So really I was like the youngest in my school. And his birthday's in the summer too. But anyway, we were a year apart. But I was like, I don't think so. But anyway, he I don't remember. I think my brother wanted to invite him over. So we went over to the house that we were still building. I guess the house part was already built. I feel like it took forever to move into that place, but it had like a big flat yard. So I think we probably went over there maybe to have a little cookout, maybe to like play in the sprinkler. I don't know. Because I remember being wet, like from the sprinkler. We did have oh my God.
Yeah, I remember the sprinkler.
But I don't know if they saw us out, like, because his younger sister was there at that time too. So I don't know if they saw us out and about and wanted to come over, or, my brother was friends. And maybe I even thought, oh yeah, there's that boy. Like maybe at this point, because I was kind of already moved on from the guy from church at this point. I was like full blown single, like whatever, I don't care. Actually, I'd already dated the guy that turned out to be gay by now, actually. And I remember he came over, and when he showed up on my porch, I'm like, this is not the same guy I saw a few months ago.
You're not gonna believe me, but the same thing happened with
Of course I did. Nancy and I have like parallel lives, I swear. But I just remember seeing him and I was just like, they say in love at first sight, I guess is not real because it's like lust, but I was whatever. I was like, I just remember thinking like, wow, he's so handsome. Like, wow. And so like we hung out for a few hours that day and he ended up coming to see fireworks with us. And I remember it was raining and I remember we got out of my mom's truck and he was like holding the umbrella for me and I was like, okay. I'm like, maybe I like this boy. And then after that, there was like a few like neighborhood kids that were a little bit younger than us, but around my brother's age. So they would like kind of all come over from across the street. So I think maybe, I don't know if it was that same weekend or maybe a weekend or two in the future, I suddenly started telling my mom, maybe I'll come over to the house with y'all today. No big deal. And then there was one day we were hanging out. It was like me. Remember my guy best friend I told you about? He was there. So like it was like three of us that age. And then there was like the younger kids, my brother and his friends. And we decided to go to the movies. And I remember we went to see the movie Minority Report. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I did not like that movie. And I'm like, why do I go with all these children? I mean, I don't think it was like inappropriate, but I can imagine children would think, I mean, they were probably like 10, but I always thought that movie was so boring. I already thought it was boring. But I just remember, actually, I remember the shirt he's wearing. I always remember it was this white shirt with thin navy blue lines, and I always remember that shirt. Anyway, I think I have a picture of him in that shirt, but that's not the point. But I remember like at some point, like we sat together, obviously, and I remember at some point we were like holding hands.
Already? Damn.
Yeah, like holding hands. I mean, we weren't like kissing or anything like that. We were just like casually, touching or whatever. And I just remember thinking, I have never felt anything like this before. Even though I really thought I was so into my ex-boyfriend. I was 13. How into somebody can you be with your ex-boyfriend? But I really thought I was like, oh my God. Like, I just felt like electricity. Do you know what I mean? Like tingles and all of that. And I remember
I've never felt that again.
Oh.
And I haven't, no.
Okay, and I remember you never feel anything like the first one. You don't. And for anybody who didn't really get it like a good one, like, dang, I'm so sorry for you. Because now I wonder, does my first love feel like he didn't get a good one? I don't know.
He didn't.
Some of it was good, but no. But I remember like going to the bathroom and then I came back and I was like, I need this. I need this to be my boyfriend. I need Andrew to be my boyfriend.
And so
told him? Listen. I'm a girl who knows what she wants.
So I want to be a boy.
Yeah, I came back out and I was like, do you want to go out with me? I think I did anyway. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, better. We've been all over each other or something. Like, I remember a conversation like that. Yeah, like just like snuggling a little and the hand holding. And
that's all over? Okay, boring.
At that age, when it's still innocent-ish, from nothing to that, yeah, it was for me at the time. Or maybe he asked me and I swear I asked him. All I know is we left the movie theater that night and we were together. Like, we were a thing.
Oh my God, me and what's his name were a thing after the movies.
Look. And I remember, like, my mom had a truck. It was like a extended cab, but...
Your mom was there at the movies?
No, to pick us up.
Oh,
but we got to ride home in the back of the truck. There was no room.
Oh.
So, but not, like, alone. Like, it was us and the crew that couldn't fit in the vehicle. And, yeah, so that was the summer before he started high school, and I had just finished 9th grade. So I was going into 10th grade. He was going in 9th grade, and so now we were going to be in school together. And I almost feel like we had a class together that first year, like a technology type thing, or like a typing class. I don't know. I feel like we ended up having a class together, and I just feel like once we were together, it's like we were inseparable. And I don't know if he wanted that too. In the beginning, it definitely felt like he wanted that too. I'm sure over time he was like, okay, I would like a little freedom. I just went most of my high school career stuck up your butt and I didn't even want to be. But yeah, I remember it's so funny because my kids just went to homecoming this weekend, and my daughter had like a short blue dress, and for my 10th grade homecoming, the one I went to with him, I had a short navy dress. And I remember I was actually telling my husband this yesterday. I was like, because I was talking about homecoming, I was reminiscing, and I was like, I remember dancing with my boyfriend at homecoming, and we heard that song All My Life, and it's like All My Life, or waiting for someone new. I'm like all my life. I was like 14, 15. Okay, I guess I was 15. I'm like, I'm 15. I've waited my whole life. But still, it was so cute. I had so much fun at that homecoming dance, and we went to all the dances together. And he wasn't one of the boys who wanted to dance with you. Like, he would fast dance. He would slow dance. Like, everybody knew we were together. Like, it was just so nice. Like, we would always meet in the hallway between classes. We would write each other notes. There were so many notes. And you better believe when we broke up, I brought those notes back out. I'm like, you told me you were in love forever. I'm like, this is why we're not going to be together anymore. But no, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, and then of course it became toxic because I felt really codependent. Like, I just needed his love and attention all the time. And that's when I started, like, isolating him some. I mean, at the end of the day, how much control can... I mean, I can say these things, but I'm saying, like, if his dad really... There were a few times his dad, like, no, we're... Like, I remember his dad used to want to go on, like, overnight weekend fishing trips. And I would be like, please don't go. But sometimes, he had to go. And it was like, I would feel so heartbroken. I would feel so alone.
That is, like, major codependency.
You made your boyfriend quit soccer. We'll get to you. Don't act innocent. No.
I will say what one thing that you made him do.
Do what?
That one thing that you made him do.
Oh. No.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
That's too much. We'll skip that one.
That's evil.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just remember the beginning of our relationship. Nobody could drive. Nobody had a job. Nobody had money. So our dates really consisted of, like, sitting on my mom's porch, like, while she was, like, building her house.
Fucking.
No, we were not doing that on the front porch. Or were we? No, we weren't. No, we weren't. But, like, my brother, people were around. We didn't get to be alone a lot in the beginning because, where were we going to be? But, we would hang out on the front porch. I think we probably used to, like, walk around the block. And we would, like, ride bicycles, probably. I feel like that's something we would have done. And then went to the movies. Sometimes we would go to the mall, and like I said, he didn't have money, and I didn't have a job. But I would do like dishes or mow the lawn, and my mom would give me some money. So, but not a lot, So I had just enough to go to, like, the mall and go to Chick-fil-A, and we would split. This is why I was thinner, because we had no money, and I would split a grilled sandwich. Like, we would split it because his dad wasn't giving him any money. So, yeah. I don't know if he just was not asking for any, but we would spend lots of Friday nights at the movies. I don't think we ever went skating. I can't remember that. We probably went bowling a few times. But the good thing was my mom really liked him, so he was allowed to be around a lot. Like, we weren't allowed to be alone, but he was allowed to be around. My family, like, my grandparents loved him. He came eventually, and this was something that was really hard for me because I wanted to be an adult in the sense of I wanted him to come to my Thanksgivings. I wanted him to come to my Christmases. I wanted him to be so involved. But of course, his family also...
You were very codependent.
Yeah, I am telling you.
I okay.
Yeah, but of course, his family wanted to be there, but sometimes we worked it out that sometimes he could come and sometimes he didn't. But when he didn't come, I just felt devastated. I was so devastated because I wanted to be like that kind of grown-up relationship, like when you're married, obviously you do those things. And I just wanted that so, so badly. But, I would say, I don't know for sure how long it was before I started being a little, like, I would say possessive. I was super jealous. I remember one time we saw this girl at the mall he knew, and, like, honestly, I thought she was a cute girl, but it's not probably the type of girl he would have wanted to date. She reminded me kind of like an emo, like, she's kind of like dark, kind of like dark and dangerous, but, maybe, who knows what he's into, I don't know. But, they had, like, a class where they rode the bus together, like, they weren't, like, friends, but they, like, knew each other, like, it'd be fine to say, like, oh, hi, you see somebody at the mall, and I remember she waved, and I remember saying to him, we were walking past, like, where all the Sbarro, Chick-fil-A, that area, and I remember saying to him, don't you dare wave to her. Like, don't you dare wave to her. Like, how evil is that? And so, of course, he didn't. And then she looked at me like, what's wrong with you? I don't think she heard me, but obviously she knew that it was me, like, that I was a problem. So I'm sure his friends knew. I was certainly, he told his friends I was a big old problem too, the ones he got to have at school. Like,
baby.
It is, because and the thing is he did not deserve,
no.
Not that anybody deserves it, but he literally, such a nice guy. Like, I feel really bad, of course, now. Not that I can do anything about it now, but...
you can energetically apologize.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Maybe I should write a little letter and just be like, dude, I am so sorry. But at the time, I don't remember that we ever broke up during our 5-year relationship. I'm sure there were times he thought about it, but he never did. We used to have this cute little thing, like we would talk on the phone every night before cell phones, like real phones, and you had to, like, call the time and temperature number or the movie theater number so you could buzz them in so you didn't wake your parents
I knew
up.
that.
Of course, right? And I remember at night we always had this like little ritual, like
For hanging up?
things we would say for hanging up.
Oh my god! We did that! And it was so long!
Ours was long too.
And at the end, I wanted it to be over.
Really?
Years later, I was like, God.
Oh my god, I loved it, and I still know it. I'll tell you.
Oh my god, you're so
I'm not going to tell you on air, but even when he started towards the end of our relationship, he started working a night shift at a carpet mill, and so when he would leave my house, like I would walk him to the car, like before he would leave, and we would stay at the car. Like we said this for years, and let me tell you, when you've done,
what idea was this?
It kind of just happened one day. You won't get off the phone.
Yeah.
And so you just keep, like, instead of saying, like, you get off the phone, you hang up. No, you hang up. Like, it was kind of one of those things where we just perpetually kept saying stuff, and the next thing you knew, it became, like, a thing. So this was back when it was first sweet and stuff, so it was, like, a mutual. We also had this thing where if I said I love you or he said I love you, and you owe me one. We always had to have even love, like, you owe me one. Like, you have to say it. Like, he would do that to me, too. I think he was codependent on me, too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was
sick.
He was. But we did get to have one trip together. That was super fun. It was towards the end of our relationship, but we were both adults. So I remember I hardly had any money working at that shoe store, but I saved up. Listen, for all you people out there who think you can't save money for something, I mean, I didn't have to pay rent. I could literally save my money. I saved enough money to pay for both of us to go to Disney World for a whole week on minimum wage.
This was in 2000s, everyone.
This would have been 2006 or 7. I think 2007.
That was
2006.
That was when my relationship was ending.
Oh, around the same time. But we did, at least we had like a last little hurrah at Disney World. Nothing bad happened there, but we actually, maybe I felt like he wanted to end it with me. He never said or did anything that made me think that, but what happened was I was going to babysit for a friend, and at this time I still thought I wanted to have children, so I thought it would have been super fun to play house, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to babysit, you come and babysit with me, it'll be fun. And I think I last minute got asked to babysit, though, so it's not like we planned this and he ditched me, but he was with my brother and my cousin and like a few other guys like down the street playing baseball, and I wanted him to abandon that situation and come and, play house with me. And he didn't want to. I don't know that he said no, but I remember having like a conversation with him on the phone about it. And I'm like, certainly he's going to come over here. And he never did. And I was like, you know what? Just forget it. I'm done. I'm done with all of this. And so I just got pissed and broke up with him on the spot for that. That was the straw.
You're a bitch.
I know. And I was just like, I remember, and this is what I always do. I always break up with people. No one ever breaks up with me. Somehow.
Then she regrets it.
Yeah, that's what happens. I'm like all this mad energy, and then I'm probably sure I regretted that one the same day, because I'm like, oh no, I forgot a cute little story. I'll tell you one little cute story, then I'll go back to wrapping this up. But our last Valentine's Day together, like, because we always celebrated the holidays and all that stuff. My husband now would rather not. He's not into that. He thinks he's like one of those ones like, oh, why do I have to spend all this money on a card and flowers? I'm like, because some people like that, but some people don't. But I remember he came home from work because he was working the night shift at this point, and he came up to my room in the morning, because it was like morning, because I was about to get up and go to work, and he was just getting off work, and he like brought up the sunflower to me. This might make me cry because this was very sweet. He brought me up this sunflower though, and he's like, I'm so sorry I didn't make it to the store, because it was like Valentine's Day. He's like, all the good stuff was going on, and I actually wasn't. So I was like, oh, it's okay, whatever. And this is gonna make me cry, Jesus Christ. And then I remember I got ready for my day or whatever. He was still there because he would sleep like in my room when I was at work. Because I think at the time his dad was with somebody and there was a baby in his house, and it was like noisy. So my mom didn't care. Nobody was there. He just left in my room. He couldn't stay overnight at my house, but nobody was there, so it didn't matter. But that same day, so I like went downstairs, and there was this like big old vase of roses, and like he had just tricked me. I was just like, oh, it was really sweet. He always took really care of my needs like that, so that was really sweet. But yeah, so we broke up. After we broke up, so that was just a few months after Valentine's Day, because we broke up like in springtime. And I was dead inside. He actually ended up moving to his grandma's house. I don't know if he moved to just, because I'm sure even though he was probably over me by then, because
I thought he cheated on you.
No. I think he started having feelings for someone, but not technically cheated on me. Like, no, I know what you're thinking of, and I can tell that part, but I know why you're thinking that. I think I know why. But no, he ended up moving to his grandma's house. He was really close with his grandparents. I don't know if it was one, because remember I told you there's a lot kind of going on at his dad's house at that point. Plus also I'm sure it was probably nice to put some distance between us. I'm actually glad he did that. I think it probably helped.
But this breakup was like, I think he already wanted to break up with you because it was over nothing.
He probably did.
He could have been like, whatever, that was nothing.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that?
I don't know what I really thought.
You think it was going to be like you were going to raise him, like, don't go?
I don't know if I thought he would say don't go, but I did think if I said, let's get back together, I thought he would. I never felt like he had a foot out the door. Do you know what I mean? But later, we like went on a few dates. He wasn't in a relationship. He was dating though. Like a few months later, he was dating, but he didn't have a girlfriend yet. But from the girl from work, he did start dating a girl from work. But we went on maybe 2 or 3 dates. But he wouldn't like be with me. But we like went on. He's not like, no, I'm not going to be your boyfriend or whatever you want to call it at that point. But it's so sad because we broke up in 2007, and that was the year I always thought we would get married because that would be 5 years together. And I usually think we were going to get married July 7th, 2007, because that also okay. So we started dating 3 days after we met because that was our anniversary. But anyway, that's not the point. So I remember the last like little date we went on. I won't give all the details to the date, but at some point I saw his phone like lock screen, and he had a picture of girls. Maybe he was already dating her at this point. This was probably 6 months after we broke up. So I don't know if he did. Sorry, girl. But I think they were just dating. He just really liked her. But they may have already been like together. But yeah, after I saw that, I didn't want to see him anymore because that like killed me inside. That like broke my heart that it is so hard for me to imagine him caring about anyone else because, hello, we've been together literally all through high school and at least about a year after high school. Yeah. So I really thought he was end game, but I mean, if I like really look back and think about all the things we said and did and this and that, I mean, I could see why he wouldn't want it to be. I mean, there was a lot of good. There really was a lot of good, and I feel like he needed some support through some things, and I did that for him. My family did as well because his family couldn't afford to get him a car. So my mom bought him a car, and then he got a job, and he paid like her the money back every month, like a car payment. And it was a manual stick shift. My mom taught him how to drive. So I mean, like we were really ingrained.
Like you guys were meant to be.
Yeah, except obviously not. He actually ended up with this girl that was one of his close friends' girlfriend. They got married when they were young. Not Andrew, but Andrew's friend. And that girl had a kid and actually, were they married or did they just have a kid?
So Andrew married his friend's ex.
Yeah.
That's white.
That's white. You're going to say that's white people stuff.
That's white people shit.
But I think they actually are. I think they're married. Aren't they married now?
Yeah, they're married.
Yeah, he ended up having a kid. So he went on. I have no idea what his kid's name is, but I have not talked to him in.
Amanda wanted me to date him.
I didn't really want her to date him though. She always likes to bring this up, but I think at the time. I was already with my toxic, and I was like so into
she was trying to prove herself.
I think so. I think I wanted to prove that I didn't care, and I was just like, you know what, like whatever. I wanted to feel like I was completely over him, and it didn't matter, even though like deep down that would have killed me, I'm sure.
I would have never done that.
But
I should have done it just to fuck you over.
Wow, so nice. I mean, I've done that to people. So
no, just to like be like, I thought you wanted it.
No, but my brother and him maintained a friendship a little while after, but his now wife did not want, I guess she knew how locked on we were for all those years, and she did not, for the longest time, my brother told me, I think he wasn't even allowed to go visit at his dad's house. My family lived across the street. I'm like, I don't even live there anymore. Like, who cares? But I think I'm like, girl, you don't need to be afraid of me, like, clearly, but I mean, I'm sure she doesn't care anymore, but
I hope not.
Back in the It's been years though,
Yeah.
and still, she didn't even want him to hang out with my brother. That was too close for her, I guess. So I'm like, dude, you just left me and went to another
cage. You just went to another cage.
I mean, maybe he likes being in the cage, or maybe she's
trauma.
Maybe she's not like that anymore.
That's a trauma.
But yeah, that's pretty much a wrap on my first love. I don't even think I got that deep into it.
No, you didn't. Bitch, you didn't even fucking scratch the surface on how psychotic you were. I'm gonna scratch it.
All right, go ahead.
So I met Luca in 2002. My sister, I was 12 years old, May 31st. My sister asked me to go to a wedding with her. I remember she picked me up and I came out and I was wearing pants. This is at the time when I was very insecure about my body, even though I was 100 pounds. Anyway. And she's like, put a skirt on. And I was like, I don't want to put a skirt on. She's like, we're going to a wedding. And I was like, I don't want to put a skirt on. And she was like, put a skirt on. And I was like, it's not like I'm going to meet the love of my life.
Nope, just your love for a few years. But anyway, no.
I think he's the love of my life.
Oh, do you? Oh.
But you always get to be with the love of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm not sad about it. I'm thankful. Anyway, so I get there and I see him and he was so cute, but just my type, green eyes, just so cute. And I was sitting there with my nieces and all of a sudden I feel like as somebody taps my shoulder and I look over and it's him. And he was like, do you want to come sit with me? And I said, you come sit with me. So he sat with me and we talked, blah, 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 blah. And then I gave him my number. But my parents didn't allow me to talk to anybody on the phone. My parents were super Mexican. So I heard from him maybe a month later. And I wish I still had my diaries because after we broke up, I burnt them all. And I had detail by detail absolutely everything we did day by day.
And that's unfortunate because we got to read all of mine.
Anyway, I wish I would have never burnt those. But anyway, I heard him from a month later and he asked me out. And I was like, well, my mom doesn't let me go out. So that was it. We didn't talk again. This was at the end of the end of 7th grade.
Wow. Okay.
The end of 7th grade.
Oh, real young.
Yeah. So 8th grade comes along. No. This was the end of 8th grade. Yeah. 8th grade comes along. I go back to 8th grade, and this boy that I knew, he would always be like, Lucas said hello, and I'll be like, okay, whatever. And that would happen almost because I think that he saw him on Wednesdays because they played soccer together. And then
before he wasn't allowed to play soccer. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay.
So, foreshadowing.
Just because you didn't scratch it over how evil you were. Anyway, so one day, months went by, and one day we had a fire drill, and he was like, Lucas said hi. And then I was like, who's Lucas? And he was like, girl, the guy you met at that wedding. And I was like, oh, okay. Tell him I said hi back. I mean, this took months.
Oh.
Imagine going back every day. And she didn't say anything back. So the next Wednesday, he brings me back a letter.
Oh.
And then we just started lettering back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We lettered all of 8th grade. And then one day, a girl moved from his school that was his friend. And he started sending me the letters through her. But one day, the letters went away. They just went away. Without any notice. Months went by. Now I'm a freshman in high school.
And y'all were in the same grade, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was in high school.
Oh, yeah. So I just went to different places. Okay.
So I went to my church for to do my first communion. And I see a girl there, and she's like, I asked her, I was like, what school do you go to? And she told me, and I was like, do you know Luca? And she was like, yeah, he's my friend. And I was like, well, tell me, and she said hello. And then next time she brings me a letter, and apparently that girl was jealous, and she told him that I had a boyfriend.
No.
Yeah, so then we started talking again. And then we talked and talked and talked. And then we talked, this was like probably June. And then we talked up until the next following, probably like winter time. And one day I just decided I was tired of him.
No.
He was so much.
You lost feelings.
He was so obsessed with me. Like, he was obsessed with me. So I just told him to go fuck himself.
Well, clearly he was telling you hi every Wednesday and you gave him nothing.
Yeah.
They probably drove the fire. Okay.
Yeah. And then I pretty much wrote him an email, because we wrote emails, that I didn't want to have nothing to do with him, that I was over it, that I literally did
literally for no reason.
For no reason. I just got rid of him. So I got rid of him. A month went by, maybe like a month or two. And you know the girl that I had the toxic relationship with?
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, which one? Okay.
So she came over to my house to talk to her pen pal. So she started reading my letters. And she was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Why did you let him go? Blah, 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 blah. And then when she left, I was like, oh my God.
You had like a light bulb moment?
I had an epiphany.
Okay.
And I cried all night.
Oh.
I was like, I really want him back.
How much time had passed?
Like 5 months.
Oh my gosh.
I called him the next day.
Oh.
And I was like, his sister answered. No, he answered. And I was like, is Luca there? And he was like, who is this? And I was like, you know who this is.
Oh.
And then he was like, what do you want?
Oh, so
he's like, are you calling me to be with me? Or are you calling me to like, what the fuck are you calling me for? I was like, I'm calling you to be with you. He was like, okay.
He's like, okay, as long as we're on the same page.
I love you. So we just started talking. At this point, mind you, it had been 2 years since we met.
Wow.
And we had not physically seen each other. Because my parents didn't allow it.
Yeah.
So that summer, June 19th, 2004, yes, I went to the movies with him for the first time.
Okay.
And that's where we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and we made out hardcore. We went with one of his friends. He ended up dying in a car accident later.
What movie was it?
The Terminal.
Oh, okay.
It was really, that movie sucked when I thought, but now watching it back, it's a really sad movie. You know what it's about? It's about a guy who goes on vacation to the U.S., and while he's at the airport, his country gets abolished.
Oh.
So he has nowhere.
That was the makeup movie. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't know about the movie until later.
Yeah, I get it. Later. I get it. You weren't there for the movie.
From that moment on, we were great, and everything was great. Maybe we saw each other here and there because my parents obviously didn't. And he was just grand gesture motherfucker. Like, he loved me like no one has ever.
But not like love bombing, like for real.
For real.
Yeah.
Like, he just, we had already at this point been talking for 2 years. Like, he was just, for Christmas, New Year's, like, he just, jewelry and love letters and emails. He loved me. And everything was great. But it was one day we went to the mall. And I was with this other girl. He didn't like the other girl, but he just came with us. And then he left. But he didn't tell me he was leaving. He told me he was going to go somewhere.
Oh.
Like in the mall.
Yeah.
And something just switched in my brain. And I was like, I told him, you are never allowed to make a move without asking me first.
Oh.
And it was so bad. I made him quit soccer. I remember after school, one time he called me because he walked home. And I told him that he got locked out of his house. And I was like, I don't believe you that you're home. He was like, I am home. Call my house. And every time I hear the ringer, I'll call you from my cell phone. That's how fucking crazy I was.
Imagine if it was the same age, you would have been tracking that boy.
Like a motherfucker.
With his phone.
Oh my God.
Like 360, you will be on there.
It was
everywhere
psychotic.
You go. I would have wanted to be like that too.
I was psychotic. So he was Sweetheart King every year of his high school.
Yeah.
And I never let him do it.
Yeah.
I just feel like at this point he has started cheating on me, and I knew that. Mm-hmm. And there was cheating incidents. And looking back now, one of my therapists said that it was the only thing. He cheated on me because it was the only thing in his life he had control over. Mm-hmm. Because, he would literally do anything to be with me. Like, I'm telling you, absolutely anything. Oh my God, I don't think anybody has ever loved me that way. I'm telling you, jump through fucking hoops, sneak out of the house, sneak into my house.
Yeah, mine did too.
Steal cars, break into shit.
Mine did do that.
Like, anything just to be with me.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely anything just to be with me. Like, it was, I don't know, like... But one day he just...
Well, and I think and you can let me know what you think, but this is what I think. I feel like I wanted to have control over him because I didn't want to lose that.
No, me neither. And I loved him so much.
You wanted to grip it so tight because you didn't want to lose it.
And it was just like... when we met at the end, we were already broken up, but he was obsessed with me 3 years.
I was about to say, what do you mean? Nancy and I were walking the loop one day, and there was 2 years after we broke up. There were a few times you said, I think I just saw Luca driving by. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm not even talking about the day that we actually saw him. Like, you would just say that sometimes. You're like, that looks like Luca's car. And I'm like, Nancy, probably not. That's weird. Probably not. And then one day we were like on the strip where there's restaurants. And like all of a sudden she's like, I swear that's Luca's car. And I'm like, really? And I never met him. So I'm like, I don't even know anything, like, except the stories you told me. And was it at the Burger King?
Yeah.
He like pulled in at the Burger King, and I was like, okay, this really is Luca in his car. And like,
yeah.
is he stalking you? Like, what's
Yeah, he was.
going
I'll get that later.
on?
I'll get that later. So it got to the point that I was controlling his every move, and I was literally suffocating him to death.
Yeah.
I was suffocating him to death. So he ended up breaking up with me because he was already with somebody else. The week that he broke up with me and she went to my school, he was already picking her up.
Was he out of school? Or he just got out before? Like, how did he get
We
over
went
there?
to Phoenix, remember?
Oh, he did too?
Yeah.
Oh,
We both left.
I think I forgot that.
Yeah, and you know what? It was one day at Phoenix because we weren't together anymore. And it was when it really dawned on me. I was in class and he walked by the class. It was going to make me cry.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and it was just like, I knew, like, it was like, stranger. Like, who's that stranger?
Yeah.
Like, he was my first everything. Like,
Yeah.
my literal first everything. The first person I had sex with, the first person I loved, the first person I snuck out of the house with, the first person I even lied to my parents for.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved him. I feel like when we broke up, I quit my job. My full-time job was to cry for him.
I was gonna say, I didn't quit my job, but I was literally walking through the shoe store with tears rolling down my eyes.
I cried in that shoes.
Did you cry? And there's a story about that too. You came and bought socks. Oh my god, I remember that.
Oh yeah,
remember?
you came and bought socks to humiliate me.
Yeah, my boss was like, you need some time off or something because you can't walk around the store crying. I'm like, well, I sure can't stop.
Yeah.
It'll ruin you.
It did. It was a lot. So, I think what really was upsetting after we broke up is that he would come back in and out, in and out, in and out. We broke up when I turned 17. No. Yeah, I turned 17. So 18, 19, 20. For 3 years after we broke up, he just kept. And I will say I am guilty of being the side hoe.
I was gonna say that was
that was my first side hoe.
Yeah.
And I just loved him.
But I think it's because, and this is why I think I was a side hoe for number 2, not for, well, maybe I was for number 1 for a minute too. It's because this is how I feel anyway. Let me know if you feel this way. It almost, I mean,
he was mine.
Exactly. I had him first.
He was mine.
I was his first everything. He was my first everything. I own him. But my second one, obviously, he wasn't my first everything. But you still feel like I had claimed to him first. Like, I own him. He's mine. I mean, and it's okay because he was my first, you know?
But the thing is that he was a psycho because I started dating somebody that worked at the shoe store with me.
Oh,
and he would stalk us outside the mall.
Even though he'd already been with somebody for years.
He was already with somebody for years and we're having a baby.
Yeah.
And he was psychotic. He would come to my sister's house in the middle of the night. He would call my parents home in the middle of the night. Like, he was obsessed with me.
Yeah.
Obsessed with me. And I've had a lot of guilt. I've actually done family constellations on him. We'll talk about family constellations another time. And it said that I carry this huge burden on myself because I feel like I stole something from him.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and like in the end, he did cheat on me, and it did get like a little bit aggressive between us, and completely psychotic.
Yeah.
That night from the Burger King when I got home to my sister's house, he was in the parking lot.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
And I ran to my car. He body slammed me to the ground.
But like, why? You were hanging out with me. It's not like you were out with the dude.
We weren't even together.
Well, I know. Well, not that anything would make that okay, period. But it's just like, for what?
And the thing is, I remember that one time that I had that little boyfriend, the one that was together for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was with him, I never contacted him. But as soon as I broke up with him,
yeah,
I ran back. I walked into his job.
Like an addiction.
Yeah, he looked at me. All I had to do was walk into his job. He worked at a bank. I walked in. He saw me. I walked out. And he walked right out. And that same night I broke up with a guy. That same night I was already at the park with him.
Ah.
God, I loved him. I did.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have regrets, and I mean, obviously I'm happy we didn't end up together. He's still with the same woman that he had cheated on me with. They had a daughter, and they had a son the same year, and my daughter was born. Yeah, they own a chain of restaurants together. It's great.
Yeah.
And but I feel like this year, since I've been working on my inner teen, I've been working a lot. Like when I went to the cabin for this past 2 weeks ago or whatever. I had like a moment, and then I had my cousin play the song that Madly Deeply.
Oh, Truly Madly Deeply?
Because he sent me that song after we were broken up.
Oh, of course.
And I just played that song, and I was like, hey, goodbye. Like, but I mean, years later, I don't know if I should say this. No, probably not.
Okay.
We were there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that connection ever dies. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, I mean, think about it. After he'd been in a serious relationship all those years, but he still is like hunting you down. It's like, it's like he wanted to keep you at arm's length. He wanted to keep you in his life, but doing it that way, he still felt like he had control of his own life because you weren't there. Like, it just having that much of you didn't, like, you probably weren't trying to control anymore because you probably know at this point, like, I can't.
No, I wasn't. But the thing, I feel like that pain is Jesus, that pain.
Yeah, losing your first love is...
Oh my, and it is...
And look at us. We're like in our late 30s. It's still...
We're still talking about it. As codependent as we were to these people, it crushed my fucking soul. And then I remember there's this Mexican song that says, there's only one love, the other ones are just to forget. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying I still love him. I feel like I'll always care about him, and I want the best for him and everything. And I'm happy that he has his family. But I mean, I've done a lot of energetic work. I mean, I started smoking when I broke up with him. And I've done a lot of energetic work too. And this is the first time I've ever been able to let go of cigarettes. And all I did was do some energetic releasing with him. Yeah. I've been able to quit smoking.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. I mean, it is, though. It's like, they're just, when someone's your first everything and it's your first, like, I feel like at the time that you're a teenager and the time that this was happening to us, that's the time when you start separating from your parents, right? Because up until that point, your parents are your everything in a way, whether they're there for you or not. Like, that's like who you're going to, if you have to run to someone, that's who you're going to run to. But then you run to them.
The thing is that I was so alone. And before I met him, I was so scared of the dark. And I was so alone, and like, I had no one. I really didn't have any friends. My parents weren't there for me. He became my absolutely fucking... The day I started talking to him, I was no longer scared of the dark. Like, I felt so... like someone out there gives a fuck about me. Yeah. And he really did. Like I'm telling you, he would go above and beyond to get me gifts, to write me letters, to just above and beyond. Just to like... he stopped going to Mexico with his parents. He just did absolutely anything he could just to be with me.
Right. And you said you didn't really meet or spend time with his family?
No, he never met mine either because I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend.
Not even when you were like 17?
No.
Well, I guess that's true. You weren't technically... You're still seeing each other, but you weren't technically... Together anymore. But... Yeah. Yeah, Nancy thinks I didn't scratch the surface. I mean, I said he couldn't say hi. But, I mean, you know, I made mine cry. I made my one time get out of the car in the fetal position on the ground and cry of how fucking controlling, psychopathic I was. Oh, I don't think I ever got that far. But I do know that there were lots of times where it caused some rifts with, like, him and his cousin that were close in age. And they used to spend a lot of time together, and obviously they weren't anymore. And I know they were unhappy about that. Like, I feel like I caused some rifts in his family life because if he was going out, I wanted to go. If I wasn't going out, I wanted to go. Like, you know, and that's crazy. Like, now, like, especially with children. I'm like, who's letting 15, 16, 17-year-olds control your life?
I'm going to tell you something right now. If my daughter at 15 years old comes and tells me, I'm not going to Mexico with you because my man... I'm like,
you're like, that's so cute. That's adorable. Get in the car.
Get in the car, you dumb bitch. Yeah. Or she tells me, Mom, I'm homecoming queen, but my boy... I'm like, the fuck?
But see,
you're going to be homecoming queen.
Here's the thing.
We had absentee parents.
Exactly, because I was going to say, not only did we...
They too. They did 100%. The reason they clinged on to us is because they didn't have that either.
Yeah, they were looking for it too. Yeah. But we just gave
It's two broken-ass motherfucking people. It is. Got together... and formed a fucking time-ticking bomb. Like,
right. And then, as you all know, the second long-term long distance relationships we had, boy, we got payback. So
we gave it to ourselves. I think that we literally. I look back now and I feel like I did that to punish myself.
I mean, I get that. No, I get that.
But I feel like that the feeling that boy. Oh my goodness.
So how about this, y'all? If you're out there with your first love right now, squeeze them tight and treat them right, because
if you kept your first love, girl,
like good for you.
Good for you.
Hopefully, y'all have a nice, chill relationship that wasn't the roller coaster like ours.
I don't regret a thing.
That's what I was thinking too. And I mean, obviously, I'm not going to reach out ever and ask anybody.
No,
but I would love to know, now that we're all adults, I would love to know his take on our relationship. And it's like, now I look back, like, did he think it was that bad looking back or no? Like, surely. But then again, I don't know. I would love to know his take. I'll never know. But
remember that class that I took?
If you're listening, send me a comment and let me know. I'm curious. I know you're not.
Remember that therapy class that I took? And he asked me to the family constellation. He asked me if I could reach out and apologize. And I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
So, like a letter.
Yeah. Did you ever do a letter?
No, don't mail it.
No, I know. But did you?
Yes, I have. I've done a letter. I've sat outside with him and smoked cigarettes with him energetically and told him everything that I've ever wanted to tell him. I hadn't thought about him like that. I do dream of him from time to time.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, he was a huge part of my life. Like,
yeah, he
was my first absolutely everything.
I mean, I wrote a book and referenced his character
in multiple ways.
You know, so yeah. I mean, I'm not like clinging on to him, but it's. I feel like your first relationship, especially if it's like a long one, like ours was, like, it shapes the way things happen to you in the future. Like, look what Nancy just said. Like, we kind of allowed ourselves to be quote unquote punished in our second ones because we felt really guilty for all of the stuff we did.
But I really do think,
and I wanted that relationship to be different.
But I really think if we work on giving our children the bare minimum essentials of life, if my mom and my dad would have been there for me, I probably would have still dated Luca, but it would have been from a place of healthy.
Yeah, maybe you never would have snapped in the mall that day.
No.
Maybe I would have never snapped in the mall that day either.
We wouldn't have been insecure.
Yeah, we would, exactly, because that is so much of what it is right there. So anyway, now you know.
We're crazy.
Yeah, well, they already knew that. But now you know, like, if we ever reference Andrew and Luca again, which I'm sure they're going to creep back in, you'll at least know the background story a little bit more and kind of see where we're coming from. Although I'm sure there's so much more. This is years and years of stuff, but.
And if you're out there and you've had a first love and you also kind of went through it, because I'm sure it was a thing from our time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, well, we'd still like to hear your stories. Leave us a comment. And
tell us. We need our first comment.
Yeah, we haven't had a comment yet. We have listeners. I'm tracking the data. But we have some followers. We'll take some more. Join us and leave us some comments and let us know, like, what was your first love situation like? Were you nice? Were they nice with someone like us? Like,
are you still together?
Yeah, are you still together? Yeah, leave a comment if you're still with your first love. That'd be cute to know.
That would be cute.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Bye bitches.